Okay, so let's get right into it. If you're learning English, I'm sure you've bumped into phrases that, when you translate them word for word, make absolutely zero sense. Well, those are idioms, and they are one of the biggest keys to sounding like you've been speaking English your whole life. So today, we're going to demystify some of the most common ones out there. I mean, just take a look at this phrase. Why on earth would anyone tell you not to literally kick a bucket? It seems like a pretty random thing to say, right? Well, this perfectly captures the wonderful weirdness of idioms, where what you see is definitely not what you get. And that's the official definition of an idiom right there. It's basically a phrase where the real meaning has nothing to do with the individual words. So, going back to our example, to kick the bucket, it's an informal, sometimes even humorous way to say that someone has died. Yep, really. And this is exactly why you can't just translate idioms. You have to learn them as a whole idea. All right, now that we've got the basic idea, let's see some of these in action. We're going to start with a few you'll hear all the time in conversations, especially when people are talking about secrets or, just trying to get a chat started. First up, spill the beans. You can just picture it, can't you? Someone trips and a whole can of beans just goes flying everywhere. It's a total mess. So what could that possibly mean? It means to reveal a secret, to tell someone something that was supposed to stay quiet. So in that example, someone spilled the beans about the surprise party. Well, the secret's out and the surprise is officially ruined. This one usually hints that the secret was shared on purpose, maybe like a piece of gossip. Now here's where it gets interesting. Let's look at a similar one. Let the cat out of the bag. It sounds almost the same and the meaning is super close, but there's a really important little difference in how you use it. And here's that key difference laid out for us. They both mean revealing a secret, but letting the cat out of the bag almost always means it was an accident. It was a slip-up. The person didn't mean to say anything, but they did. So think of spilling the beans as gossip and letting the cat out of the bag as a mistake. And to wrap up this section, here's one for starting a conversation. To break the ice is all about doing or saying something to cut through the tension and get people talking, especially when you're in a room full of strangers. Just like in the example, a simple joke can be all it takes to break through that awkward silence and help everyone relax a little. Okay, let's switch gears and move into our next section. This one is all about idioms you're likely to hear in the world of work, school, or really anytime you're talking about challenges. So in this part, we're going to look at 4 fantastic phrases. We've got burn the midnight oil, cut corners, bite the billet, and finally, hit the nail on the head. Burning the midnight oil. This one has a pretty cool history. It actually comes from a time before we had electricity, when you literally had to burn oil in a lamp so you could see to work late into the night. Today, it just means you're staying up super late, probably working or studying to hit a deadline. Now here, we've got 2 idioms that are basically polar opposites for how you deal with a problem. To bite the bullet means you're facing a tough, unpleasant situation with courage. You just get it done. The complete opposite is to cut corners. That's when you do a sloppy job or take a cheap shortcut to save time or money, and it almost always ends badly. And here's a really positive one, perfect for giving someone a compliment. When you say someone hit the nail on the head, it means their comment or their analysis was absolutely 100% correct. Just think about a hammer hitting a nail perfectly. It's precise, it's effective, it gets the job done, same idea. For our final section, let's go over some amazing idioms that you can just sprinkle into your everyday chats. Using these will make your English sound so much more natural and colorful. So if you ever hear someone say they're feeling under the weather, trust me, it has nothing to do with rain or clouds. It's just a really common, kind of gentle way to say you're feeling a little sick or unwell. It sounds a little softer than just saying I'm sick, and you will hear it all the time. Next up, 2 idioms that show opposite extremes. If something was a piece of cake, it means it was incredibly easy, no sweat. But on the other hand, if something cost an arm and a leg, it was ridiculously expensive. They're both great examples of using a little exaggeration to get your point across. Here's a super casual one you can use with your friends. To hit the sack is just a laid-back way of saying you're going to bed. The story behind it probably comes from way back when mattresses were basically just big sacks stuffed with straw. So at the end of a long day, you might literally hit or punch your sack to fluff it up before you slept on it. And our next idiom is once in a blue moon. A blue moon is a real thing, you know. It's when you get two full moons in the same calendar month, which hardly ever happens. So the idiom means exactly that, something that happens very, very rarely. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground today. To help make sure all these new phrases stick in your brain, let's finish things up with a super quick lightning round review. Ready? Let's see what we've got. First, the ball is in your court, which means it's your turn to make a move or a decision. Then there's pull someone's leg, which just means you're teasing or joking with them. And a few we know well now. Piece of cake means it's super easy. Cost an arm and a leg means it's way too expensive. And of course, spill the beans is to reveal a secret. Great job. So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that idioms are absolutely everywhere in English. Getting the hang of them is a huge leap towards sounding truly fluent. And we'll leave you with this final thought. What's the absolute weirdest English idiom you've ever heard? There are literally thousands of them out there, and each one has its own strange little story. Keep exploring.